Welcome to HIGHké Lifestyle Podcast, Models from Mount Melanin, Biweekly podcast where we discuss hemp, the ether, energy, being on a physical plane, and whatever else comes to light while on hemp. Your host Clifford.
And I'm Shari-Joy. What's up?
What's up?
Trying to keep up the spirit, Trying to start it off right, because I'm like not feeling it today.
Yeah, I was saying that we both have on like all black. Like on Monday, I did a podcast with my boy, and we both had on like black and pink for some random reason. And I was asking him to wear that shirt again today, but I was like, I ain't fucking with it. So black became the default. So it's just funny the synchronicity of where like minor energy takes us, right?
Yeah, it's funny because I had a completely different shirt on, and I was like, no, I think it was still like like earth tone. It was like grayish, warm, like
right,
grayish tone. I was like, no, default black. It's like,
what's the symbolism, right? What's the symbolism, right?
Right now.
Yeah.
Right
what do you
now,
think?
for me, it's
What do you think led to choosing all black?
For me today, it's definitely like I'm hiding my emotions. I'm real blunt. I'm trying to like hide in the shadows. I told myself, like don't. I had a feeling we were gonna talk about this, and so I was like, my answer would be I'm trying to catch myself and before getting into a bad mood.
Got it.
And I don't know where black fits in all this, but that's my answer somewhere.
I get that. That makes sense. Hearing that, I take it as this is kind of being how you express, right? Instead of physically expressing the mood, knowing that it can get bad, you manifest it through clothing or art, right?
Mm-hmm.
And just let the negative energy sit in that, and then I'll get back to it. So
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's actually a really good way of saying yes. This is a whole body mask.
Right.
So, yeah, I mean it's really interesting, I guess, because black is considered like when we think about like crystals and things like that. I don't know if you're aware or not, but like the black crystals, for example, they absorb negative energy, and it's very interesting to kind of put it that way when you're thinking about wearing black, because it's not like you're trying to absorb more negative energy. I feel like it's more of like protecting more nuanced energy to come and invade my specific area, I guess, and my aura, my energy field. And yeah, because I guess I realized throughout the years I've gotten much better with like adding more color to my life.
Right.
I'm personally much better at adding color in my environment, like my home zone, than like
green fingernails.
Well, this is new actually. This is like to upkeep my own feminine energy.
But that's the good balance, right? Like,
yeah,
you'll see the all black on, but then you look at the nails and be like, well, that's bright and lovely.
I
fuck
committed
with
it
that.
for like at least a month, so like
right.
yeah. Those are patterns. It's funny how I think all of that plays into play at the end of the day, kind of keeping yourselves into some sort of pattern. So at least for myself, like I said already, I don't fall deeper into some rabbit hole of my own depression or misery, or just trying to stay above the frequency here.
I get that.
How about you though? Any inspiration to the black, or is it just straight up default? I'm going with it. Like there's nothing really to it.
I mean, the hat is the hat, and the shirt has like a little design on it. It's a Cowboy Bebop shirt.
Oh, it's not all black. It has a lot of color.
And that's the mood, though, right? Like
I see
the black is predominant. I just thought of this. I just thought of this now, but the black is predominant, and the little colors are a little balanced.
I like it.
Same exact thing.
I like it. I see it.
But also, it's just what I have available too, right?
Right. I mean, I just judged you from what I get to see here, from shoulders up. So I'm just like black, solid, and then bam, logo. Like
I fronted. This whole bit was a front.
I see. I wasn't ready. That's why I'm wearing all black, solid. No facade here. All black, solid.
No facade. And maybe I'm facading, right? Maybe
no. That was just
Well,
not
not
great.
it has to be the balance, right? Like, jokingly to your point, if you're not fronting, then I'm fronting like, yeah, black mood. Then like I get up accidentally, and you like, hold on,
Hold on a
there's a
minute.
lot, there's
Wait.
a lot of color on that shit,
Wind,
right?
wind that
Yeah.
back. Wind that back. So I'm glad we
But
at least honest with each other from the
right,
forefront, right? No
right.
surprises here.
Right. It matters, right?
The universal balance of checks and balances. I need you to feel balanced and vice versa. It's
Right.
beautiful. How's your last 2 weeks been going? Because, damn, over a year.
Blur mostly.
Perfect word.
Yeah. We went camping Friday night, which was cool.
Oh,
Second
right. It was
time.
like an overnight? Well,
Yeah. It's an overnight. Yeah. Well, you could day camp it, but I guess the same camping is assuming that it is overnight.
Yeah.
But yeah, it was cool. Nice to sit under the stars, getting a little different appreciation.
Nice.
For
how far away from home?
Maybe like 3 hours because it was a holiday weekend, but on the way back it's 2 hours.
Nice. That's awesome. Was it just one night?
Yeah, just one night.
Cool. Yeah. That's cool. How do you feel being able to do that now more often than I want to assume you did when you lived in the East Coast?
I did that never on the East Coast.
Yeah.
Like I never stopped. I don't think I went on a hike until I moved to LA. I think that was like the first time I had like a hike, like walking through dirt and shit like that.
Yeah.
Well, that was 29. Like,
yeah.
It's the weird little things, right? Like even thinking about putting my feet in like a lake for the first time. Didn't do that till I was damn near in my 30s, right? There's no lakes that I'm really gonna do that in Brooklyn or New York.
No,
I'm not escaping.
Everyone's afraid of the water. Hudson,
Right.
ocean, dirty.
Right.
Or they can't swim.
Yeah, I'm one of those people.
Oh, I forgot about that. As soon as I said it out loud, I was like, wait a minute.
No, I'm not offended by it. I think sometimes
I'm worried. This is what I am. I'm worried for those individuals.
Okay, not me specifically. Those.
No, everyone that can. Like I'm like, oh, but please go ahead.
Right.
You don't feel offended by it.
Yeah, I don't feel offended by it. I look at it as like the willing things into existence, right? The attracting that energy. If I keep thinking about, one day I'm gonna die from drowning, or I'm gonna be in a situation where if I knew how to swim, I'd survive.
Terrible way to
but if I never do it, I never do it, right? The irony of it, right? Like I never do it, and then at some point I'm in a situation, and as I take my last gulp, I'm like, no. I should have learned to fucking swim, right?
No, I mean, I'd like to believe that instinctually you'll know exactly what to do. I mean,
I won't. I know myself.
Add a little bit of
I know myself.
Do you at least know how to float?
Nope.
All right. Well,
it's over for me, right?
No, it's not over. It's the beginning. It's the beginning of hard work, my friend. Like learning how to float. Right. Learning how to float. That's all you got to do is at least learn how to float.
I get anxiety. I got water gives me anxiety. I'm not there yet. I got to work through it. I mean, I've come a far way. Like I taught myself how to swim a little bit when I lived in Miami, just like mostly swimming underwater. Like 3 years ago, we went to. I feel like I talked about this. We went to Maui. Erica and I went to Maui, and I was snorkeling with turtles and fish, and I worked up to that, so it was dope. But that's like been my wall right now. That's like the wall of where I've been. So maybe I need to always carry snorkel gear with me no matter where I go. I can make like a inflatable snorkel gear, so that ass can survive. That's the line.
Right? Floaties for the arms.
Right. I'm gonna carry pocket floaties for the people who just don't want to swim. Right? Who
just don't want to, but want to go snorkeling.
Right.
I don't understand it, but I'm with it. I'm not gonna say no. I'm here for the party.
Here for the party.
I would be like, all right, maybe we just have a lifeguard on the end somewhere just in case, in the vicinity, just in case. I mean, you can rely on me, but my arm strength is
my responsibility. So what's one common thing that most people should know how to do but don't do that you don't do? Like what's I don't know how to swim.
What is my I don't know how to swim?
Yeah.
Ooh. I don't know how to fight.
Okay, that's fair. That's a most people don't. I think most people front. I mean, like we said, right? Most people front about what they can and can't do. I think that's a lot of uh that's the majority of our experience. Like, what percentage of people do you think actually know how to fight? Actually know what they're doing in a fight?
No one. Ask me if I have a lot of anger ready to throw a punch. Maybe,
Yeah,
yes,
a
yes.
few
That I
people,
can
right? A
definitely do.
few
I can
people.
throw a good punch.
But most people overall don't know how to fight. So you're in that majority. Some does I think I don't know.
Yeah, no, you're right.
Right? Like,
Because
yeah,
this
I
is
should know
my
how to swim. You
beginning.
should know how to fight, right? Yeah,
Yeah,
same
yeah.
thing.
Do you know what kind of world we're in right now?
This
Yeah,
motherfucker can't
this
swim.
is for both of
He don't
us.
know how to. He don't know how to do. Like he don't
Fucking
know his
pointless.
ABCs. What I'm gonna do with him, right? Just
I
more
mean,
prejudice, right? For our
yeah,
limitations.
yeah, yeah. Talk about this apocalyptic. What word am I trying to say?
Apocalyptic. Yeah.
Thank you,
There you go.
thank you. See, this is why we have balance of people.
Right.
I can't do it by myself. Not even the English
Right.
language.
Right. What's the long way to what's the long way you would have said that
Apocalyptic.
if you couldn't get the word, if you couldn't get no what
World
would be the
destruction.
world destruction? I like that, world destruction, apocalyptic, world destruction.
Yeah,
Right.
yeah. I think it's fitting, right?
Right.
The end of the beginning, Judgment Day. I think that would ring some bells too. Judgment Day.
Do you believe in a day?
No. A day? No.
Yeah.
Mm-mm.
Okay.
Mm-mm. No, no, no. I think this is a very long day. The way I
Right.
believe this is like a long Judgment Day. Long.
I'm just thinking that if we don't believe in days, then we don't really even believe in time, right?
Exactly. I was just thinking
Yeah.
about that like not too long ago. I was like, I don't know. I think I might have been like in some zone and putting a post up in a story or something. I was thinking about time. I think time is. Oh yeah, my recent post. I was like, time is time is a. Fortunately, time is a man-made construct. So I said something about. Luckily, I feel more alive when I feel the sun and the
Right.
water because that reminds me of how alive I am. Because time, I don't know anything about fucking time. Like even with energy work and all the things that I say, even if some people were to follow my page and they get like the tarot part and the reading of energies and stuff like that, I can't answer anything about time. Time is relative. Time is man-made. So I'm
Right.
like, great. That puts things in a whole big perspective. I'm supposed to just live out my time with time, although it doesn't matter. I gotta make a schedule for time because
Right.
time doesn't matter.
Time doesn't matter, but
Yeah,
what you do within the time frame matters, right?
matters,
Right.
correct.
The,
And
the
then they say
present. That's
time
all. That's all.
management. I'm like, what time management to time? That doesn't exist.
Time exists as it does, right? There's nothing I can do. I'm just here. There's nothing I can
There's
do.
nothing I can do.
Please don't fire me, Mr. Boss Man, right?
Right.
It's not my
Still need
fault.
the paycheck.
Right.
Oh, you need me to show up on time. Okay, got it. Oh, time is my nemesis, I tell you.
Do you show up on time?
Nope. It's bad. It's
That's interesting,
bad.
right? As a Virgo, you hold people accountable for
Oh,
honoring,
it's bad.
but
I'll be the
the
first one to
time's not
raise
there for
my
you.
hand. I'm like, fucking guilty. It's
And
bad.
why is that? Just you think you got enough of it? You're just like, do you have that internal conflict of I don't want to fuck with this, but I do, and at the last minute you kind of decide,
It's it's the problem of being really interested in both dualities. So I work better under pressure.
right, right,
So, but I always challenge myself to the most stupidest degrees when it comes to like, showing up on time or processing something for a due date. Like it takes me a long time. I have such a long drawn out attitude about the work itself or showing up or what it takes to get ready for work or show up
right,
on time. And then a small other part of me is like, I don't want to show up on time for someone. I want to be on my time. Like it's really petty and stupid.
right,
Like
right, right.
I become like legit childish in that regard. It doesn't show my age at all. But I'm just saying, like, it's one of the reasons why I'm like, I gotta put in the energy to work for myself a lot more than work for someone else or have a
Right.
solid team where we're working together because
You're a good
yeah, it's
follower, right? Going back to leading and following. You're a good follower by nature,
God.
right?
Oh shit, that even hurt me just now because I feel like
But not right.
the
But
moment I
you pick and choose though, right? So that's what makes it the balance, right? Like the words are just general, right? You're a follower could mean a million different things depending on what you want to define as following. So like that's the
however, I would like
balance.
to reveal in that moment how I've been triggered. Yes,
All right, go
absolutely.
ahead. Let's hear it. Let's
Absolutely.
hear it. Let's hear it.
I'm a follower due to the fact I need a paycheck. So these
Right,
people
right, right, right,
ask me to be on time. I got to try to be on time because if I'm not on time, they can hold it against me, which
right.
they have done. Hence why I no longer am employed there, you know? So, you know, like that. But, and other things, I'm a follower in being excited for how other people express themselves, but challenging myself also to that equation. Like, how can I express myself? Not better
Right.
or less or more than. It's more of like, all right, challenge accepted. I want to show up too, kind of energy. So,
Do you think when you started showing up late, why you laughing already?
huh?
Why you
Huh?
laughing already? When you started showing up late, do you think it was because you were already over it? You were like, "Fuck this," and it just kind of coincided?
Oh no, I'm
Oh,
chronic late person, latener.
oh, damn.
I just
Okay,
made that shit up.
chronically.
I'm a chronic late person.
Okay, okay.
Like, but it's weird. It's always like fucking 5 minutes, and it's so strange because I kid you not, every time
Is that like thunder?
yeah, it was loud over there. It was
It wasn't
hella
loud. I
loud.
heard it though, but
Okay,
I heard it.
okay, it's super loud. But that threw me off now. Time.
Time you chronically late person.
5 minutes. Yes.
5 minutes.
Yeah. So even when I try to like reach on time, like there's times where I've like try to conscientiously be like, all right, stop being late, and that means leave early. I leave early, kid you not, end up late. Like I didn't. It's
What's
like
early to you though?
early
What's
is right on time. No, I'm kidding. I'm kidding. I'm kidding.
like
A fraction of me saying no, that's probably the truth, like 50% of the time. But
right,
the
right.
other 50% of the time is like it's not no 15 minutes. I know that would be early.
It's under
That's
five
like
minutes.
it's
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 under
like
5 minutes.
5 minutes. Like either 5 minutes early or 5 minutes late.
I left 5 minutes early, so I got
No,
there
I
five
leave
minutes
30
late.
minutes early to be like 5 minutes late.
Got it. No, but that's what I asked. How early do you think you leave?
Or
You said
like,
5 minutes.
no. I leave like 20, 15, 20 minutes
Got it. Got it.
earlier
Got it. Got it.
than the time to give it a go. Be like, all right, fix it. And just
Still
doesn't.
5 minutes late.
It's stupid. Like the most I have no answers to these things because I have all the solutions and just be on time. I just don't show up on time. Like it's bad because I grew up with a mom who was like always on time. Like it would be bad if like I'd know that something would happen or did happen if she's late.
Right.
Like that's how I would know like shit happened, you know. But that never happened because she was always on time.
Yeah,
You know.
that's interesting because we share a lot of similar Virgo traits. I guess it's really just in different aspects because I'm like about time. I'm just like I like the consistency, and maybe it's just more like masculine energy drawn. Like I did
Hey,
a
interesting point. Uh-huh.
for the holiday, like 2 holiday weekends, 2 or 3 holiday weekends. I worked for like UPS as a dispatcher. My shift was like 6 a.m. to about maybe like 2 p.m. Every day except Sunday for about maybe like 2 months. And I knew what time I had to be at the bus stop. I knew time I had to be at the train stop if like I was sleeping over at Erica's. Like I had everything wired down. I never missed that bus. And I never missed that fucking train. The one time I
Wow.
was late was literally because the train was just stuck. It was like 5:30 in the morning. The train was stuck, and that was the only time I was late. But like every single time, it's just like I want to honor my social contract. Like y'all said, I'm gonna be here at 6. I'm gonna get here at 6. I'm gonna do my work.
Yeah.
So it's interesting. It's interesting to think about the duality of that.
yeah, it reminds me of the first time when we started like becoming more acquainted again after not working together, and then working with you, and then like having like these sessions, like these mentoring sessions. When you say 3 o'clock, you mean it. It's 3 o'clock. Like it's like the phone starts ringing at 3 specifically. Like it doesn't. And
I'm fucking neurotic.
I remember I was like, wow, I cannot fuck around with time with him. With him, I can't fuck around with time. I know that. I gotta be on time. Or like I gotta come up with like really good stories as to why I'm late. So maybe if I approach it with the Clifford never expected to be on time, then maybe
Right. I like that.
maybe I won't, maybe you won't be so mad at me when,
Right.
Shari can't get her shit together because she's always fucking chronically late. Like,
I
which is
appreciate that
bad.
perspective.
Thanks for accepting it, but I
No.
know I know it's not a problem solver to I don't know, whatever I'm trying to
Right.
convince you. It's not a problem solver. I do want to show on time. I'm also very picky in the social contract that you're talking about, but I also know, like with me, I have to be very more attentive to what I'm saying and how someone is listening to these things, and taking honor about what's being said. And
Right.
I know that I think with me, not to make an excuse really, but I think I would say that my my word is filled with so much value that I can like embody the truth, and I'm really trying to be present at any given moment, that I think that's the reason why I have an objection with time. Not
Right.
because like I really try to embody, like I really want to go with the flow. I want to be there and ready and attentive. Like I want to be, so I think I'm a natural nonconformist to a lot of things, and I try to. I don't come off that way. I know I don't to many people. I feel that I don't conform. I feel like anything I look like I follow rules, or I don't know. It's just a weird ambiguity, I think, with how I even address my own style and attitude to life and showing up on time.
Right.
But I do value social contracts, I think, from a more deeper philosophical term, because I guess I'm trying to say, like, I don't want my social contract to be null and void, because it only will be fulfilled if there's a construct of time on it. Like that.
Right.
That's the hard part, where I'm trying to trip over my own ego and be like, all right, if it's 3 o'clock, then it's 3 o'clock. And, we didn't say 3:05, we said 3. So should we stick to
Right.
3?
I'll,
Disciplining myself with
so
that shit.
earlier you brought up that time is man-made, and I think maybe that's the
Mm-hmm.
perspective, right? Because on my end, I think I've kind of transitioned to time as being about in the present, or maybe like it's how I've always naturally viewed it, just because I've always try to be on time. Um, so I think it's just the perspective, right? I don't look at it as restraint, or which is weird because I have the thanatophobia, I have the fear of death, but I'm a I've I'm aware that time is just like like this is just what it is, right? And I accept it. I don't view it
Oh, so
as
interesting.
I don't view it as like the oppression. I'm looking at it on the metaphysical level, but you view it
Mm-hmm.
as oppression because of the physical,
Yeah,
right?
because I feel like where I fit into that equation is that I am the metaphysical. Does that makes sense? Without having my
Right,
ego in that explanation. Like I
right,
embody the metaphysical of substance, of wanting to go with the flow of life. Like but see, because like my thing is, I already revealed, like with my mom, she's always somebody who's on time, and time is very important to her, right?
right,
And that aspect of showing up. And I can't speak for her, but I know that what has been shared is that she wants always, her thing is, when her kids are relying on her to be on time, then that's something that she needs to be, is on time. So
right,
it
right,
became more with a pressure with like being a good parent and showing up in time even though it's picking up, and making those social contracts, so that way as children aren't worried about mama being late, you know? So I think with me, I have anxiety about not being on time, not because I'm trying to shove somebody in the face that I'm gonna fuck your time,
Yeah.
fuck that shit. No,
Yeah.
it's actually so it's actually different. I'm maybe I should bring more balance to the equation to show up on time. But the thing what has me is that I'm still working on it. That's something that I have to work on, right? If I
Right.
feel important right now, that's weighing out the seesaw is this fear that I will disappoint someone. And to bring that up to where I realized with you from the beginning, like you are legit about your time, is to one, now that I know that, to honor and be more appreciative that that's how you work, right?
Right.
And to show up on time or to communicate when, don't make it a habit to always be late, right? But I also know the way you've also expressed yourself, and also now in my examples with you in the past, is that I know you're not going to be like, up my ass and like send me to fucking like detention if if I'm, you know what I mean, like
Right.
like that type of pressure hasn't
I
evolved.
I care, but I don't care to the point where I'm gonna let it bother me
Hmm.
because it's your life and it's your decision. Like that.
Right.
I think that's like the base of how I look at it, right? Like that's like the pessimistic view I have on it. Like I mean, which the base pessimistic view that I've outgrown, hopefully. But
Mm.
yeah.
Yeah.
That's a negative way to look at it.
You think so?
Yeah, because I do care, and I do. I mean, I care about everyone I have any type of bond with. I want the best for them.
Of course.
I want to chop it up, like we do biweekly. I do a biweekly with my other boys. Like I want to talk to the people I care about to see how they're doing. I want to motivate each other. Like yeah, I definitely care about my friends, or close. I can say close friends, but just I care about for the most part everyone I've like, hi. So I'm a romantic at heart, right? And on a human level, I view it as anyone I've ever like sat down and had bread with, everyone I've sat down and have a meal with, like there's a certain level of love and respect I have for you. Um, but occasionally there's people it's like fuck that nigga, whatever, I don't care. But for the most part, most people like I cherish that bond. I remember everything. I have a fucking amazing memory. I've So I remember everything. So if I think about someone, I'm like, yo, I hope they doing good, right? Just that little bit of energy. So it's it's an updated perspective. And again trying to make it more optimistic versus like the lazy angry language.
Mm. Mm-hmm. The lazy angry language.
Yeah.
I like
Lazy
that.
I like that.
Yeah.
Langry.
Langry.
Langry. Az. That was whack, but yeah.
Langry lazy. Lazy langry.
Lazy Langry. Yeah.
Lazy angry lazy person.
So
That's
so
true.
yeah. I don't even know how we stayed on that for this long, but
30 minutes. I don't know. It's a
I
lot
know
of
you wanted
pent
to
up.
talk about Sha'Carri Richardson not being chosen for the U.S. relay team for the Tokyo Olympics.
Yeah, it's such a confusing story. I don't know. Like I don't really follow so deep in detail. But obviously I find it crazy that that that's a hot topic and it involves cannabis. Still. It's 2021, you know? And
In what way?
I mean, in the way that it's still like considered as um taking away quality of sportsmanship, when I feel like there could be so many other arguments about it, as insert the whole different dialogue about transgender individuals, being on either spectrum of the Olympic team or something like that in sports. And
So Sha'Carri is transgendered?
no, she's not. But
Okay,
I'm saying
sorry.
like insert for my point. My
Well,
point.
do you have any like do you have info on the story? Like what?
The info that I know is that she was going. She was in an interview, and during the interview, she was given information about her mother passing, and it spiraled her into making that decision of smoking cannabis, and that got her eventually in trouble. So
In
it's
trouble with who?
trouble with I forgot the exact individuals. Hold on. It is the World Anti-Doping Agency and the USADA label cannabis as a banned substance as it poses a health risk to athletes. It has the potential to enhance performance and violates the spirit of sport, which is a CNN sports article. And yeah, I just find it I don't know. I just find it a little bit impossible to think that someone should be held accountable for smoking cannabis at this point still. Like right. And then to what's so vague about even this article that I've read was the fact that she's being taken away from this like I think it's the 100-meter the 100-meter part of the Olympics, but she has the ability to partake in other what do you call that?
Competitions.
Yeah, exactly. Other competitions within the Olympics.
Or trials.
And, yeah, exactly.
Well, yeah, they're called trials. It has to be ancient Greek feeling. Trials.
Okay, got you. Yeah, you are right. You did say that too. So, yeah, I just don't understand how there is still. What's the point of it being such a big deal? Like, what's the point? Like, I don't understand what. Because all I heard about the situation is that, again, someone is being who happens to be a black African American a black lady who is competing in an Olympic sport, which is big, right? It's like,
right.
And it has a big effect on the masses. And it has a big effect on the community of some sort, whoever is attached to this story. And when you just look at it from a perspective of what the material you have, aesthetically, and then you hear the title of being disqualified from competing in a part due to a one round of cannabis smoking. I find that a little bit like, that's weird. Like, right. How is that like, again, national news of importance to the point that it also then not only involves her and is then unfortunate to her because like she just dealt with negative news of her mother dying, as the way I'm getting the story. Right. So her coping with that is her resorting to cannabis, and cannabis is, I mean, like, I'd like to say and believe in it's Mother Nature and meant to help you assist in those, I guess, those coping mechanisms, which would benefit it as a good thing. It's not a risk factor to what they're trying to indicate that it's against. Like, if anything, just keeping her mental at bay. I don't know, like, but what I preach and how cannabis has affected me, yeah, I'm not an athlete. I can't say that I would continue smoking cannabis if I was an athlete. But to think of it that it is so bad to this point, still in 2021, that it'll affect you when you have a little hit. Everything that you've done up to this point is gone because of weed.
So I think you said that it was because of performance. Like they thought that it was performance enhancing.
It says that they ban as the the WADA and the USADA label cannabis as a banned substance as it, quote unquote, poses a health risk to athletes, has the potential to enhance performance, and violates the spirit of sport.
So I mean, certain strains help me perform better. I definitely think that's
like, take a good sativa, for example. I mean, like,
right. Like, there's a strain, I think I talked about this maybe early on, called Snow Cone, that any like THC potency above 24% has me flying when I'm running. Like, I just feel like invigorated. Like, I've done like projects, like I'm just walking around the apartment, like taking pictures and shit. Like, it's really, I feel great. So I get it. I get that aspect.
Do you think it's cheating? Is it cheating when do you feel like you're cheating?
I'm trying to think, right? Because like the initial thought is, it's not my fault they don't know that this shit is dope, right? Um, but I don't know. I don't know. I don't.
Can
Yeah,
I
I
ask you a
don't.
question? Do you think those people who are in those organizations never smoke weed? Like
Yeah,
ever?
I'm sure they do. I think most people, yeah, most people in like top authoritative positions that are hypocrites, right? The ones telling you, no, don't do it, don't drink, don't drive, or you know, law enforcement, they drink and drive. I mean, that's a lazy example. That's a lazy example. But I think, yeah, we all have our random vices that aren't legal socially or judicially, right? I'm I'm 100% sure they. I'm not sure. I think they smoke too. Um,
I can
but I
guarantee
so
you they at least have a drink. I mean,
right,
at
right, right, right.
least have a drink. And for me, if anyone's gonna argue cannabis and alcohol, I mean, I can't believe that alcohol would ever win the argument. But I know there are a majority of people who just love it. They're just
Yeah,
like,
like why
yes,
don't
it makes
they
sense.
like some people could drink vodka and be just masters, whatever. Like if you can train your realistically, I believe, and I'm sure scientifically made this improve. You can train your body to do anything, right? I was training for a marathon while I was guzzling down bottles of liquor every fucking day. I did it. I trained. I taught my body how to do it. But so like anything can be um some type of enhancement. But I get that the social aspect is it they're added in the race thing, of course, which is just a hotbed topic to add source to it. Um, and I think I saw that they were kind of comparing her to Michael Phelps, who admitted to smoking weed, and I'm not sure when exactly, but it's a hotbed topic because it's a black woman that marijuana is gradually being decriminalized, like locally in each state, and it's kind of at Biden's. He's been talking about it, right? He's been pump faking about making it legal on the federal level. Um, so I get it. I get the social backlash that like, hey, it's not a big deal, right? It's not a big deal. It's not a big deal. It's not a big deal. But I get their perspective because as someone who I don't compete on any fucking level. I do whatever makes me vibrate at a high level, right? And weed helps me vibrate at a high level. So I get it on that aspect.
So, but what if she wanted to admit that it actually helps her vibrate on a higher level? Shouldn't she be able to? Oh, are you like better at it than her because she just chose to be an Olympic athlete?
Am I better than her because she chose to be an athlete?
Yeah, for the
No,
argument's sake of like, I don't know what I'm trying to make up here.
nah, because she's competing. Like the whole point is that she's competing with other people, and they don't want anyone to have an unfair advantage. Like that's the scope of it. And
See,
on
but this
my
is where I
end,
argue the transgender part, though.
but I thought she isn't transgender.
I know, but this is where I'm inserting something else that should be like,
Okay.
if it's going to speak anything about what is written here about violates what? What did I say? What did I say that they said?
I don't know who's there. What did I say that they said?
No, not yeah. What did I say that they said? That quote that was like, "Oh, it poses a health risk to athletes, has the potential to enhance performance and violates the spirit of sport." Like, I get it; they're labeling for cannabis, right? But I mean, am I crazy for thinking that like a physical body is like we're negating then the physical body? That the cannabis has an effect on the physical body, so it's then not fair to the team for the rest of the players. So
Right.
that's why I'm like, all right, let's talk about this transcript. I really don't even want. I'm afraid to go into this topic, honestly, because
You brought it up, right? Don't pump
I know
fake,
I
right?
did, and I'm gonna bring it. I'm gonna go through it as safely as possible.
Okay.
And all I'm trying to really highlight here is physical aptitude and the way it's supposed to be accepted when you chime in as a team aspect with others, because that's what I'm taking is a problem with what she chose to do in her personal ways of coping mechanism that violates her productivity in a team and her representation of it.
Right.
So,
But also give her an unfair advantage from their perspective.
right, exactly. Thank you for that part, because that's exactly what I'm then challenging with this, with any individual who's transgender, who is actually born a man, but is then claims to be a woman, says actually they are a woman, making them say they are a woman, but they have the physical aptitude of aesthetically now. Aesthetically, the same point that I brought up with the whole Sha'Carri aesthetic appeal,
Right.
is the physical aptitude doesn't make sense to the ultimate fairness of what's supposed to enhance the performance and violates the spirit of sports. Like, I don't.
So you mean in terms of transgender athletes?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
I got it.
Yeah.
Got it. Yeah.
Yeah. I
Yeah.
mean, like, I don't
I
know how
totally
I
agree
would
with that too.
feel if I'm a woman, I have a transgender woman on the team, but she's physically built like more masculine, and I have empathy and I have
Wait,
compassion on a human
she's
level,
built. She's built,
physically like a
but
man.
but she is, but she is
She's a
transgender, or are you just talking
she's
about a
trans.
woman who's who's
No,
physically
no.
built
I'm
like a man?
talking about a transgender.
Got
Transgender. Basically male to female.
it.
So if male to female is then in my team, is on my team, I'm humane. I have no issue with what a person does with their body. Like, that's not the point of it. The point that I'm trying to very softly negate, though, is, can I not feel like a little bit going against the spirit of sport here, thinking that this person may have more physical strength on them than me?
Right.
Like, but just on a biological form, like, I get it. Like, I get it. The process of the whole thing is difficult for others because their physical body goes through different changes, so they're not the same, really. But when you compare that to cannabis, which is an organic material from Mother Nature, that violates the freaking. I always have to keep back on it. That's how much I don't care about this. I can't keep forgetting. Yeah, that it poses a health risk to athletes. I'm not saying transgender pose a health risk. I'm saying, but it's hard for me to bring this point out too, because I really don't know how to. I'm not well versed in any of the community, especially transgender, to really feel safe enough to speak on these things without feeling like will hurt some people's feelings. But I'm not here to hurt anybody's feelings, and I'm also not trying to remain arrogant or ignorant of a topic. But I'm just trying to highlight, I don't see the fairness of that physical aesthetic part, but it's not being discussed on the mainstream media. If anything, it's glorified on the mainstream media. I've seen that part. And it's a normalcy, but something that's also normal and becoming more decriminalized, as you said, is cannabis. And here we still are in July of 2021, and somebody is losing their freaking Olympic career off of this shit.
Right.
Like, that's what doesn't make sense.
I think I'm following. So I think the difference is that the transgender aspect is only social, right? There's a it's really a social problem that we have in terms of trying to trying to find the right language, right? It's a new experience for our generation. So I think it's mostly just on a social level, right? Because we see the next steps being that people are, they're making laws. Like, once your group has specific laws in motion about trying to protect your rights, like, you're relevant to the times, right? And you're becoming more aware in the public eye. So I think it becomes, right now, it's only a social issue, whereas the Olympics incident, the Olympics blackballing, I guess, for Sha'Carri Richardson is there's like a organizational and legal aspect to it, right? Because marijuana is still viewed as being illegal on a federal level, and there's different marijuana laws in different countries. Yeah. I think that the law aspect is what I think makes them separate. But I mean, I do agree that it is something that we need to. I don't know if I don't know if the word is find a solution for, or find a way to make things fair, like you said, because it definitely is unfair, right? Your natural birthright gives you advantages that the other gender doesn't have, right? If we're just looking at it as male and female, I think that's definitely realistic. Um, but we just need to find, since this new group of society is emerging, we need to find ways to balance out how we all get along, right? How we all get along, I guess, or work together, or coexist together realistically, right? Like we need to figure out how we all can coexist together.
Yeah, yeah. That's the thing. I feel like most often the times it's like trying to remember how you're still going to bring law and order to chaos.
Right.
You got to have some sort of like structure, because you can't have just no structure, because oh my god, I
So
wouldn't want to see that.
do you think it's impossible for humans to have order as a collective?
No, I don't think it's
Really?
impossible,
Okay. Why not?
because well, I just had to like fast forward to the times we're in actually just now. I'm like, oh wait a minute. I don't know about now, but um I think
In general, past,
I think
present,
in
future.
I think in general, yeah, I think people can live harmoniously amongst each other. Was a question with or without law and order? I'm sorry.
Can't live without. I think maybe I said can't live without. I don't really remember, but I think I guess reiterating it in case it's something different. What I want to know is, do you think humans can't live without chaos? Can humans live without chaos? Maybe, yeah, as a collective.
I think so. I think so. I think that's to have a sheer of hope,
Right.
because because I use the word hope to put a space between what one person is doing on their life journey and their choices that lead them to experiencing them, and my own, and to also find some corresponding energy within that existence that makes us equal, which is life. And I think my hope for humanity, not with the nuances that humanity has caused up to this point, not with the sheer discipline needed for the things and the awakening and the education that most humanities would need, but I think overall the essence of humanity could reach a potential of living amongst each other and just embracing that living amongst each other could induce sovereignty and the free will that everyone on their soul level is truly looking for. I do believe that. It's going to
That's
take
good.
a lot of fucking time, because time
Right.
is, again, man made, and I'm totally believing that the whole concept of time that man made is wrong. So, but I don't have anything else to identify myself as with that in this life, other than insert myself into this paradigm of existence using the same equation that we all are privy of, which is the 24-hour time, and make life happen for each other. But overall, yeah, I think humanity can do it.
I got worried when you said no. I got worried when you said no. Not like specifically, just like, damn, that's sad. That's sad. Yeah, I would have, I think I feel bad for anyone who doesn't have hope, because that's a sad existence to have, right? And I mean,
Very sad.
maybe it comes from like the experience, right? Like knowing how bad it gets for yourself, like transitioning out of it, or just being in a point where you're transitioning out of it and looking back and be like, damn, uh, hate for it to be me, right? Hate for it to be me. Like when
I
I'm
mean,
in the Reddits, like misanthropy, nihilism, and I see it, man. I see it, and I see the victimhood, right? It's having, like, I had this back and forth with this dude who replied to a comment that I was replying to someone else about, and he just made himself a victim. And I'm like, yeah, bro, like, you came to speak to me. Like, I wasn't even speaking to you. You added all this source, you called me names, but I'm just responding to you, and now you're the victim. And then like later on, it's had another interaction, and like that's all people want to do. So that's all how people want to live. Just it's other people, it's other people, it's other people. Everything that happens, right? It's other people. Um, so yeah, I think that's sad. I think it's sad, and I think that's what leads to where we live, right? If it's other people who are at fault, then other people are gonna fix it, right? If I'm never at fault, I how would I know to fix it, right? Yeah, I
it's
like that.
terrible.
I like that. If other people are at fault, then other people will fix it. If it's never me, if it's always you, then you have to fix it, right? And that's on like the individual duality, me versus you. If it ain't me, it's you. So what a man, what a sad experience.
Yeah,
What a
it,
sad
like,
experience this has been for a lot of people, man.
yeah, yeah. Like, man, it is. The one thing that always tries to keep me level-headed into being fair into his own contender to this game of life is to accept that people have their own versions of extremity, of extremes and expressions of what they seem as their own chaos within their life.
Right.
And sometimes though I hear individual with, like, they use some really like large words, and then they like have my interest and like tell me them, and
What's a
then
large word to you?
like large words like I had a near death experience, right?
Got
And
it,
I'm
got it,
like,
got it.
oh, large
So,
words, like
okay.
that's like you have my intention. And then I hear um in that moment, like this person like had their hand, their fist up in the air, and applied notion is that the person was going to hit, right? And that's that person near death experience, right? and and I don't know what it says about me, to be quite honest, because I'm the one that was affected by this hearing, and it wasn't even something that was shared through me specifically. It was something that I heard as a third party. I'm a third party to this situation, right? So as I'm hearing that, I'm like, it's interesting how one learns to be open minded in how they apply their own feelings towards, again, those big words of my near death experience. I had a near death experience, right?
Right.
Because I'm thinking like crazy, like I don't know, maybe blame like the TV shows like the Netflix shows I watch, a lot of crime, like a lot of like that stuff that I'm thinking like, okay, worst case scenario, it's like blood, but no, not even,
Right.
not even, you're not even getting the contact. I'm hearing no contact was ever even made. So, of course, this is not to negate the mental trauma of such a situation, um, or that it couldn't also be a near life situation for them. But then I heard like other stories in my life of individuals that like literally like really almost died, right? And
Right.
have
Right. Right.
died. Some people like literally have died and came back, and those are those are the moments in life that I live for, then that I have a hard time in um in really sharing, besides valuing authenticity within individuals and keeping myself in check when they express themselves with me and to me, or whatever I hear, or however people apply themselves to the situation. Because I had to learn big boundaries, and also still learning how to allow connectivity while also setting boundaries to what I can accept and don't want to accept. And, you know, um, in the act of knowing that people still want some sort of saving, some sort of clarity, some sort of kinship, like for better words, like trauma bonding, like, you know,
Right.
acting for, looking and searching for the victimization of being seen, being heard, and validation, right? And I have so much empathy for that, because even in my darkest of days, that's really all I really wanted, was recognition for my existence. And falling
From
short
who though?
from anyone really at that, my darkest life, my darkest point in my life, from anyone really. But realizing that me chiming it in on wanting anyone means that I'm not getting it from anyone, because no one can meet up to the standards of me just wanting
Right.
something. Because I don't know, I was void of a filter. I was lost, right? So then within that the wandering of being lost in that phase, I learned, oh, this is my construct. I make this reality.
Right. Right.
I am the engineer of my reality. And it was such a blast in the face that in and of itself further made it more concrete in my reality, that even as bad as how as dark as my own life got, and my own psychological intake and analyzations and my growth and all versions of me after this part, the part of my life, has still allowed me to still be more hungry to find individualism in the act of connectivity, as contradictory as that sounds. Because I like the act of engaging with people and connecting, but I really am adamant of having that separation. Like, you need to work on you, and I need to work on me, because I can't handle if you're dependent on me for something that you need to heal, because I can't feel that for you. You have to heal that on your own. And
Right.
that's the part that becomes I have to check myself too when I hear other people sharing their stories, because sometimes I know what it's like to have suicidal ideations, just the thought of it, and having other people share their stories. So I can get very morbid in thinking about, you talk about it so much. I mean, at this point, why don't you do it? Because I've gotten into arguments in my past where things have been threatened like that towards me, with a person like wanting to, using suicide as like that threat in an argument. And like that's where I caught myself in thinking, like, it's really, really hurtful that I'm saying out loud, why the fuck are you threatening me with that shit? Then do it. What does that mean to me? You know what I mean? Like, it's to just understand that that's also a form of manipulation that's happening in that moment. And also, bigger than that, it's toxic. So just being adamant of what people share puts me in a position of really having to listen to why they share it, and to what degree of ownership they have towards what it is they're sharing. Because I'd like to not challenge people in like the validation of their feelings, but with what they're how they're eager to fix it. If they're just staying in a victimhood and just want pity party, or if they're going to rise up to the equation and let's do the work. And that's a hard thing to try to mentor in someone while you're also learning to just keep yourself in check.
You had a lot of points.
You had a lot of points. I'm sorry.
I can't.
That's good. On to the next, please.
Um, I think one perspective that I had, I thought it was interesting that you brought up. Um, I used the example of someone telling you a story about the threat of violence, and like earlier on, you were like, you can't fight. And when you talked about, someone sharing a story, you feel like the passion behind the story, because I mean, like I've been thinking that everything is just entertainment, right? Like every time you communicate with someone, we're just passing on information, and most of the time we just want to be entertained in some capacity. So it's like watching TV or watching a movie. Everything is vicarious, and you since it's a personal since it's like a personal experience with the story, you get into it a bit more compared to, like, let's say a story about someone drowning. Maybe you'd be like, yeah, whatever. Yeah, I don't give a fuck. Like, okay, like, you don't know how to swim, motherfucker. Like, you done like it's nothing. But since you have that personal connection, it's like, the passion is there, right? Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. I mean, yeah. It's true. I don't know. I feel a lot when people talk, and so I'm just somebody that's very attentive to what the words they choose to use to share their emotions. As
Right.
someone who has a hard time tapping into my own emotions because I'm very mental, I'm very like, I process a lot in my head. So um so I just like to compute things of how the delivery of somebody saying certain things to me. And when it comes to that victimhood, again, that's how I look at it. Like, what words do you use, and how do you validate using those big words with that? Because you know what I mean? Like, because
Right.
that's big. My near death experience is that. It
You
wasn't a
feel
gunshot wound. It
they
wasn't a
undersold
stab.
it.
You know what I mean?
The story didn't have the sauce you wanted. They undersold it. They
Right.
pump fake. They pump fake. You're
Right.
like, oh, and that's it. Like that's everyday shit, right? Like,
Right.
yeah, yeah,
Right.
yeah. I like
Yeah.
that. I
And
like
I'm not
that.
trying
Yeah,
to like blow it off either, but I'm like,
yeah.
give me
It's
the
yeah, yeah.
juice, since you just got done saying we're all looking for entertainment at the end of the day. I guess that's what it is. I'm like,
It's
not
it's
very entertained by
interesting.
this idea.
Right, right. Like thinking
This.
about some of the answers that we gave on last episode. Right. There's we don't the modesty that we were talking about. Right. Like you don't sell shit because you don't feel like there's any hype behind your stories right now, right? Like you're not where you want to be, and this also me is kind of projecting. I'm not where I want to be, so like I'm not out here like, yo, I'm doing it, yo. I'm just working, and at some point, hopefully, right, the goal is to feel that you're at a point where you're proud of yourself. Maybe that's what it is, right? You're really proud of yourself, and you're like, all right, I'm putting shit out there. I'm putting shit out there. I'm putting shit out there. Like even with the I mean, even with this, right? Like I don't post on my IG for a few reasons. Number one, my personal one, just because I'm just disinterested. Like I said, I've juiced that. Like, yeah, you wrote the word juice. I juiced that energy for as much as I could. Like it's time to move on to different things. Those people, right? The 30 people or 20 people on average who like my post are always gonna like it. Like I've done what I could, right? It's time to move on to different things and get
Mm-hmm.
get a larger reach.
Yeah.
I feel like didn't you post that? I think you posted that on one of your things, right? Like I don't care about the likes. Use your brain.
Yes, I want you to think. Yeah, yeah, yeah. On my
Right. I
story.
think
I
maybe
don't
maybe
care
that was
about the followers. I care about that you're thinking.
right,
I want you
right,
to think.
right. So I don't really share this because it's like you know I feel like realistically, right, and being transparent, I don't feel like not, the word I want to use is failure, right? Like you going back to language and specific, the initial word is like you feel like a failure, but it's not true. I don't feel like a failure. I just feel like it hasn't popped yet.
Does
It
it
hasn't
feel like a
popped yet.
waste of time?
Nah, for me, never. That's
Good.
you're projecting. I like that. I like that.
Ah, good
What you
slip. That was
project.
good. It was a little minor projecting. You were right. You're right. I forgot who I was talking to. I can't get
I
away
know,
with
I know.
everything.
But yeah,
So quickly,
like
back to you.
I just gotta everything, all the small different things I'm doing, sometimes while I'm doing the work, it feels like, you know, for me, the pessimism, this ain't gonna hit. Like nobody cares, nobody cares, nobody cares. But more times than not, I override that though, and it's like, yo, just keep doing what you're gonna keep doing what you need to do. And the one break, the one for me, my perspective this whole time has been the one big break will allow people to catch up to all the other shit I've been doing. Like I've been on this, but you're now getting to know me. That's cool, bravo for you. But like I've been doing this, right? Like I don't get any views when I do the YouTube live. I don't care. It's not about that for me. It's about just doing it, putting energy out there, and when that one big break comes, whenever it comes, whether like I mean, it could be tomorrow, it could be a month from now, it could be a year from now, but whenever it comes, people be like, oh, yo, like this dude has a track history. I've been doing this. Like he been trying to put out energy, right? And that like that's the validation, right? Like fuck y'all on one level, right? It's like fuck y'all, I've been doing this, but also like me doing this is what gets me to the point where the one big break
Absolutely.
emerges. So
Mm-hmm.
yeah.
Absolutely. And that's like something that I think that's the masculine quality of you that helps me keep myself in check, even if it's like a fraction of a couple of hours bi-weekly. Is that
Right.
that attitude of like stability and structure? Just keep doing it. Just do it. Just do
Right.
it. Right? Like, and it's really hard, man. It's really hard. It's really hard for me to be very active physically and not feel lazy, like physically
Right.
lazy. Like it's like it's like I can explain this.
Physically on which level though? Like on a creative level or on a high vibration physical level? You talking hike or HIGHké?
It's both in that
Okay.
moment. It's both. It's like I exist in both realities. I need the hike and the HIGHké moment. Right? I need both. Right? Um, my attitude often is more HIGHké. That's why you might hear me say now it's validated between you and me. Like I'll say more HIGHké, right? Like the HIGHké
Right.
life, right? But that's where then yes, to answer your more structurally where I would need more work, it's the HIGHké life, the product, like the diligency, the structure,
Right.
the actual action to do things. That's where I feel physically sometimes a little lazy. Where I've shared with you before, like there's like certain routines that I get into and I drop that. I drop it after a while and I get back to it. And I've gotten actually so much better not being so hard on myself and so rude to myself and like being angry, then I pick up and drop off and pick up again and drop,
Right.
to
Right.
just accept that that is who I am and it's okay. Like it's all right. Like the world's not ending. The world that I'm
Like
making
being
it
late. Right.
exactly.
Like being late. You be
Real
alright. I'm
talk
here,
though,
right?
yeah, yeah. Real
I'm
talk,
here, right?
I'm
Yeah.
fucking here. And this is
It
damn,
it's
it's
funny,
so
right?
real. It's so real because I use that as an argument. I'm that
Right.
person. I'm like, you gonna try to, because I mean, you know a little bit. I mean, we didn't work in the same department together, but you know a little bit also with your work ethic here. There's a lot of similarities as far as that is concerned. Like, you can only imagine how I possibly
I
work,
work like an
right?
Italian. That's what you gotta say.
Exactly,
I work
right?
like one of the Italians, but yeah, yeah.
Exactly.
I work like a Haitian. That's how I work. That's the reality, right?
Right, right.
It's just American. You're too Americanized. That's your problem. You're too Americanized.
Me?
That's yeah,
What do
yeah.
you mean? What does that mean?
Because considering like I brought up the Italian joke
Yeah,
initially, right?
yeah.
Italian culture is respect the job, be on time, all that. And I made the joke
Oh,
that
you're damn right about that. Uh-huh.
yeah, but my the reason I have this work ethic is because of my mother, my parents, my sister. It's my culture. Haitian culture is a work ethic. You got to work hard for what you want, and I think maybe respectfully, maybe you're too Americanized. You're like, it'll be all right. Like this is America. We'll be all right. Don't worry about it. Like
That's funny.
we'll be
That's
all right. This is America.
funny.
It's
No,
cool. It's cool.
actually, I totally get it, and I laugh at that. But no, that's
Were
not the
you born here
reality.
or were you born
Nope,
here?
I was not born here.
And that's
Right?
part of it, maybe, right?
The
That's part
damn
of
right.
it, right? The
Hence the
American
answer that's
dream.
coming.
I like that.
Because I will not keep my mouth shut. Because I will say I work like I get you fucking money. So you really want to try to you want to fire me because I'm 5 minutes late? I think the work ethic says a lot about my energy, that I make you look good. And I'm not talking about physically, but I give you some money. So if I know how to be a hustler and being somebody that keeps the customers coming in happy, it's not the premise of the philosophy at hand. You're really going to get rid of that aspect because of my 5 minutes late? Somebody that's really money hungry at the end of the day, that's my attitude if I'm gonna be real.
I'm gonna make the connection to the can't get it right, to the Sha'Carri Richardson story.
Yeah.
So on their end, right, their fault is not embracing the American culture of like, yo, it's not a big deal. Like, we're still here, we're still in business, right? Like that's the American culture, right? That's what they're missing because they're still stuck on that Italian mindset. Fuck, I lost it. Shit. So I the only difference, right? The only difference is the social contract, right? And because as a manager, what you do influences your staff and everyone else. You have a larger responsibility. So if you're 5 minutes late, what if your entire staff shows up 5 minutes late and the store's open?
Yeah.
Right? They learn that from you, so you're at fault. Yeah. And I think that's the Sha'Carri Richardson aspect, right? Like,
this is why you would never be. You can't be my manager, because I would have words to say to that. I'm gonna let you speak though, because you're the manager. Go ahead, keep going.
That's the point, right? So if she smokes, right? If she smokes, she opens the door for everyone else to smoke, and everyone else may not be as responsible with their weed as she is. So she might set a negative precedent. I think that's the I guess I'll use the word like legal aspect, or like the
to justify
systemic aspect. Yeah. Yeah. I mean, I get it. Like, but there needs to be for me, like, everyone has a right to victimhood, right? Like, you're never going to see eye to eye with.
That's what makes it dirty for me. That's what makes it dirty for me. If I can identify more than me, more than outside of myself, of how that has been dirty and been against the rules, then it becomes something that's like null and void to me. Because
but just because you're aware doesn't mean that, like, you're not better than another person because you're more aware of the rules, right? Let's say those dudes don't smoke weed, right? Let's say they are the current liberal generation, right? But for whatever their age group, maybe they're boomers, right? They just follow what they saw on TV. They were told as children and growing up that marijuana is bad. So yeah, when they're in their 50s, they're gonna see someone smoke weed, like, whoa, this is bad. This is what I believed all my life. Like that's natural. But on our end, like, you say, I don't want to misparaphrase you, but I feel like your response is, well, like, it's not a big deal. It's not a big deal for you, but it is for them. But the next step is, if you're telling me it's not a big deal, help me understand why it's not a big deal, versus just saying, fuck out of here, right? Like, that needs to be the balance. That needs to be the additional work where, we connect our generations, old heads who don't understand any better versus the new generation. Like, yo, we've been smoking this shit all our lives and we're fine. Like, come fuck with us down here. Like, that's what it needs to be. I think it can't be. All right, well, fuck. You don't get it, right? You don't get it. You don't understand. Make people understand.
Yeah, you're right. And the only way that I always can make people understand is to help people see my point of view and have them have interest in my point of view.
But you can't make people understand.
No, you're right. I can't. But when I say make people understand, I'm saying what I'm implying when I say these things is, I'm a type of individual that doesn't go around blasting my opinion anyway. I speak when spoken to. That's what I mean. I'll make them understand when they ask me a specific question. When I know I need to fix on something, I still like the work ethic of getting things done and finding solutions to things. That's how I work. That's my natural interest of finding solutions to things. Now, the methodology that I like more is the healing part, right? The healing part of fixing solutions. And so I can't really speak on legalities of things because, I'm ignorant and probably will remain ignorant in that regard, because that's not a methodology that I devoted most of my time in. and feel that I can be a solution finder much faster than if somebody has my interest in healing mechanisms, which is already a very broad topic. But I can't make anyone, I'm not here to make anyone even believe what I have to believe, because half of the things that I feel like I believe in is bullshit anyway. You know, like, not saying that it's bullshit, but I can't validate it with it. I'm not God or God. Like, I'm not here to validate anyone's life. I can only validate my own. I can only validate the things that are wrong with me or working against me and see if I can fix it, or I validate the things that are good within me and elevate that more. So it becomes still a very me journey. And if I defend myself in speaking certain validation points, then it's not, again, my duty to offend people by how they take ownership with the words I'm using to describe myself or my opinion of a certain situation. So with that in mind, with keeping it to something I can be more passionate about instead of the cannabis situation that I'm not trying to write off, but it's more about, like, with work ethic that I've already explained, I'm very diligent of already. Yes, the crux is I'm 5 minutes late, right? So no, I could have a very petty argument. It becomes very petty to say, "Why, you're really gonna get rid of me if I'm bringing you money?" You know, it's an argument, but it's a little petty of me to even be like bringing it up, right?
Right.
So, but I challenge that with the perspective: how am I going to utilize myself at the same equation of where I might be a threat to the company for being one against the one breaking the rule, which is show up on time, right? So I've become the problem. So how do I guess, put myself in a situation where I'm not trying to get rid of my problem and say I'm not guilty. If anything, I'm saying thank you for telling me that this is an issue. I'll work on it. You know what I mean? And that becomes different. But what I'm trying to say is that during a time where it became much bigger than just 5 minutes late, it became an issue that I understood certain things of management and the way the dialogue they would like it to go, but the reality of the dialogue that's actually written down is not the truth. And that's what I argue for those individuals.
What do you mean the dialogue written down?
Like, for my specific department, management was the worst. So in me understanding that was me also understanding within the same company, I was also a manager before. So I had just a lick of understanding what it means at all to be in a manager position of that company. So
real quick, who was it? It was the worst to who? This, like, that was just like the store's general idea or the upper management's idea?
what, that the management was bad?
The worst, yeah.
It was an idea substantiated from my groundwork of being with other people, meaning I had me and my coworkers. Me and my coworkers make the department a reality.
Right. But who was saying that
we are.
what's the general idea?
I'm saying we are. I'm
So
saying
you and your I'm just trying to understand.
Yeah,
You and your coworkers thought that your department was the worst.
As far as manage-wise is concerned.
Okay, got it.
Managerial-wise. Not the worst as far as the philosophy of the restaurant or whatever, the quality of the place. It was more the concept of what it means to have management. We had management change over so many times. Like, it was absolutely crazy to keep up with. So there was no security that we could fall back on. We had to be our own managers at certain points, because we're the ones as servers and busters and runners who are keeping the atmosphere going, which I'm retorting as the money part, right? So
right.
you know, so I'm taking my argument of how I then take my problem of being 5 minutes late from management. I'm like, wait a minute, but we as a collective are all lacking in one way or another from what management is trying to impose on me. I'm doing wrong, which is being 5 minutes late. But instead of fixing other things that are part of the quality of work that are needed, but we don't have that stability because we're changing managers for every second. We can't trust anybody. So we have a hard foundation of trust, right? So that's what I'm saying. I would challenge back with my argument of, okay, I get it, I'm 5 minutes late, but management sucks here. How can we fix management for you to start, like the 10th person might call me out of being late, but that's because we have 10 different managers in like 6 months span. You know what I mean? So that's what I'm saying. There's no structure, but the rule that's written down of script has more weight than reality, and that's what I can't stand. Like that's what I don't like. That's what I feel is unfair and unjust to insert myself with what I do independently, which is serve, and I have maintained these certain tables, but they're also very dependent on the quality of my maintenance work of these few tables are so dependent on each other because I have other people on my team in that same moment that we work together. You know what I mean? It's not a one party dynamicism. It's we work together individually, independently to make one thing flourish. And we need structure. So I always challenge management with their own rules. Like, all right, management's late too then. Let them be on time to see what's going on here so that we're not so mad at my 5 minutes late.
So what would be your level? Or maybe give me an example of the latest the latest you can. I'm trying to phrase this properly. All right, so you said like for you, you're saying that I'm just 5 minutes late. Like there's bigger things to worry about. What would be what? Yeah, at what point could they be like you're doing this consecutively or consistently, and it's a problem? At what point would you be like, yeah, you're right, fuck it. Like at what point wouldn't you compare? At what point wouldn't you compare?
At what point wouldn't I compare?
Yeah.
No point. I either
So
fix
so
fix myself at being late or not, or they fire me.
no, that's not the question. If I keep coming to you and saying that, I mean, I'll use 10 minutes late, right? If I keep, so I mean, yeah, I guess time wise, but even though you don't believe in time, right? So that's not a good example. At what point do you just not have a retort? Like what can a manager come to you and say that you've been doing consistently, and you just accept it and not say, well, there's another issue, like there's another issue. At what point, like, what's your tier for that? Like if I said
Oh, it depends.
Shari,
I mean,
if I said Shari, like your drawer's been short $100 every week, or $100, $20 every day, would you be like, well, like would you point towards something else at that situation?
no. I mean, also I've been a cashier for 5 years, so I know no. That would
Right,
never.
right, right,
I
right, right.
understand. I
Well, we're
understand.
talking about on a managerial level,
Yeah,
right?
yeah, yeah.
As you
On a
managing.
managerial level, I feel like I'm good with like 3 strikes are out kind of thing. I'm good with
Okay.
that number. You know what I mean?
Okay.
It doesn't. I'm fine with that. I'm fine with. I'm. I'm not against management. As in, I'm totally for law and order. Like I'm for it because I understand people still need some sort of structure, and I still believe that if there's a mission statement at hand with a said company, then you have that mission statement, and then you have
Right.
certain brackets to fulfill that mission statement. I understand those logistics. You know what I mean? But this is what becomes so quote unquote dangerous when you see it from a perspective of that's what makes it so interesting between us working in the same company but totally different departments, because the idea of being the restaurant part means, again, when I say money, I'm not saying it from the no class act thing of like it's nothing. They need all of us to do a good job, also be on time in order to get the customers coming, and keep the business of the restaurant flowing. You know what I mean?
Right.
So I totally understand those logistics. So my number for specifically for that would be like, all right. I mean, I'm cool with like the streaks, 3 strikes
Three
are out.
strikes, right? But that's still not that's not the question. Still, it's
Still
not
not,
how
interesting.
it's not
Okay,
how many,
listen.
like like what's your limit. I'm trying to. I want a scenario where a manager is approaching you about something that you did wrong, where you won't have a rebuttal, where you just be like, "Got it, my fault." because like five minutes, being 5 minutes late is nothing to you. Like whatever, right? So what's something that matters? What's what's some type of negative work behavior that does matter to you? I guess
Oh, I
that's
hear
the
it.
question.
It does
Shit.
come across that if I'm
I didn't
always
have the
5 minutes
language. Yeah.
late, that I don't give a shit. I mean, I do give a shit, and I really do try to be on time. I really honestly do. It's just not my reality. That's the part. It's not this part. It's just not my reality. But I guess for that part where I feel more guilty, man, you only really need to tell me once, and then I take that into like high regard because of
Got
I
it.
say that because of my work ethic, man. Like my ethic is speaks so much louder than the concept of time, which is the issue with work ethic for me in this argument, I guess. Like it only takes I love constructive criticism. Without it, I cannot work and do a better job. You know what I mean? So I do value when it comes in. So it's hard for me, I guess, to really pinpoint that one and done kind of scenario. Uh, but usually do try to only stick with the ones you have to tell me, and then I get it done.
Right.
Um,
Unless
I
you don't care about it, unless
unless
it's
I
no
don't
big
give a
deal.
shit about it, and that's where
Right.
I'm like, we're either gonna talk about it for 30 minutes and get to the same compromise, or I'm gonna be completely okay with the losses that come, which is the truth.
Got it.
It's the truth.
Got it.
If they then fire me, then I suck it up.
Got it.
That's part of my reality. I asked for it. I didn't show up on time. That's the reality of the construct of what they decided on. And what do I have to? Who am I to challenge that then?
Own your shit, right?
Yes.
Right. So let's jump into your projection about it's being a waste of time. I feel like that'll be fun.
What part?
Just
What part of
that concept itself. I mean, transparency is so good. I'm not. I don't feel away. I feel away, but I don't feel away. Right. Right. I feel away, but I don't feel away.
That's exactly what I would answer to that.
Right. 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 But that's my answer. You didn't have that until I said it. Right.
Yeah, for me, I said that. I think I said this before. I care too much to give a damn. And I know it's the ultimate contradiction when one hears it, those words when I say it. But man, I mean it. I mean it. My love for humanity is so dire, so so eager to find the justice of how we can socially be more harmonious with one another without having to live in the victimhood, without having to live in the overabundance of overachieving, of just allowing yourself to go with the flow and just to deal with that for a moment of just embracing the day is so hard of a concept for us nowadays in this fast society to really embrace. So I slapped that reality in the face with saying, I don't give a damn. And then people are like, what? You don't care? And then I have their attention. Like, I don't understand. You
Right.
don't
Right.
care. Like, you're a heartless individual. Whatever they could possibly see. Like, you're a narcissist. Your ego. You worry about your damn self. Like, okay, if that's what you think, then you're entitled to that feeling. Because I can't. It's not that I don't care. I truly do care about your opinion. But unless it gets to a position where we can equally exchange opinions, where we feel listened, heard, and appreciated equally in a conversation, I won't give a damn. I won't care. You know what I mean? Like, I can't. Because I care so much in trying to be a good person every day, make the right decisions. I have my own anxieties and demons to tackle. I have my own depression demons, as I mentioned earlier, to try to catch before they take me down. Like I have so much going against me and for me to try to teach me about myself every day, and then I have the ability to grow beyond that reality and see myself as a version through either our conversation that we have and showing up to that equation that biweekly and seeing what other voids and I may have that I feel challenged by when I'm trying to wake up and go with the flow of the day and see if I need to take them. And that is something I'm honestly very grateful that the universe has capitulated me into this position where I am today. That I have the ability right now to take that air of space of going with the flow and just literally going with the flow, because it's not that I don't care. It's not that I don't care. I care so much, but I won't allow what most people do is chime on to me now and think that all I will talk to them is about negativity. Like, no, I'm not. I need to be beyond that dialogue. I can do that negative self-talk all on my own.
Right.
Like all on my own. I'm clever. I'm clever at giving my own anxiety. I'm clever into capitulating my own depression. Like I'm really good at like not having my flaws. I'm good at those things. So I need to be very conscientious now moving forward of what the idea of for me and my safety of my energy of well-being is when somebody takes from my energy or is challenged by my existence or my opinions. Like, unless you truly feel that you as an anyone is unbothered or bothered or just uncomfortable with who I am and feel like they want to show up to either make it harmonious, then it will be my problem. But other than that, I can't be held liable for what's out there for the masses to conceptualize about me, because no one will truly know me. They will only know a version. You know what I mean? And that's kind of the attitude behind I don't give a damn. I don't care. I don't
So
care.
how does that? What's the direct connection to it being a waste of time? Like feeling that no one's gonna listen. The actual physical time of it, even though time doesn't exist.
I Well, truly, it's because I think the direct connection is that I think other people don't care,
Right.
because I see it as a projection. As soon as there's a negative projection, that person doesn't care. It's not, if it's inquisition, then it's open for me. It means open dialogue. They're open for their change their mind. They're open for a perspective, for an opinion. But if it's a projection of it is, then what am I gonna do? You're telling me it is, so fine. I can't change your perspective unless you pay so much attention to me that in next 10 years you see that I've changed, and then you yourself were like reached your own perception of being able to understand that, oh, she does change, or she's never changed, or she remained. But thank you for spending the last 10 years following me so intently, because I was too
You
busy
don't,
wearing my shit.
but you don't think people are already doing that naturally with you, like in terms of, I mean, that's what social media felt like. It finally gave us the access where people can be a part of our daily lives. You don't think that's part of it? Like like it feels like you're focused on the people who aren't realizing it instead of being present and fucking with and being happy for the people that do, and like that being enough, and that however it grows organically, that being enough.
You're saying that I am doing it or that I'm not doing it for social media reasons? You're saying that my involvement in social media is to connect, or
Yeah, I'm saying that social media gives you the ability so people can see your growth on a real-time basis. So instead of seeing it as a waste of time because some people won't get it until 5 or 10 years, why not like, why isn't the initial thought being grateful for having many people do get it and like fuck with you and
oh, that's
enjoying the
oh,
gradual
that's easy.
relative growth?
That's easy for me to answer. Oh, one is because with someone like you, when I'm doing these podcasts, I I'm more, I show the human sides of me more, meaning the things that are still my challenges. I still reply with some of my trauma responses, my
Right.
ways of saying like I don't care,
Right.
like, but
Literally, I don't care. That's
I literally saying those words. I don't
your way of
care.
saying I don't care is literally I don't care. I
I don't
like
care.
that.
Um, and I know that's a lot. And then also then maybe looking into my things and then thinking like, but she's like, she wants me to care. Like the things that she says is I care for humanity, I care for authenticity, I care for these things. Like I do share the things that I do care, which add on to the value that I am grateful for the things that I do have now. I don't, going back to what you said earlier, I don't do things for the followers. I remind myself that I'm not trying to do it for followers' sake. It is very hard also to keep that in balance when you're fighting on a business aspect the war of finding a structure to be like the algorithms and the right, modalities and methodologies to reach different audiences, and it being able to be a nanosecond of hopefully somebody that needed to see it, and having no
Right.
emotional attachment to it, that person giving you a like. So it's it's very easy to just one brush off, but it's also it's just as hard to say one is truly grateful because we're still all human. I mean, we also expressed that in I think the former episode of like, like I don't want to, like I think you said something about like I'm not even posting on IG because one thing has uh, thousands of likes and the other
I
time
saw it
it's like,
again. I
right,
saw it again.
yeah, me too. And that's like, it's like I'm not. I've at least I can honor the fact that us talking about it now within the last month or so. Let's make it a big time frame. In the last month, it's come up in a few times of conversation. Like I'm okay with at least knowing that we purged so much that the next month, if that happens again, I'm not so mad about it anymore.
Right,
It
right,
doesn't
right.
gonna make me so reactionary of like, all right, that was a bubble buster, but like we're gonna shoot for
All that
September
fucking
again.
time I spent, right?
Right.
Yeah.
And we're getting better with that. And I understand that's also due to everything, due to us maintaining our structure of every bi-weekly podcast and keeping it open, having open dialogue. Everything is part of this fluidity that I'm saying is what I truly care about, because there's no structure needed to find something of value in the growth of going with the flow of certain things.
Right.
And that's ultimately what I say, and what I mean when I have to like judge myself or critique myself for other people to understand where I might be coming from by saying I'm sassy when I say I don't care. Like, I'm not trying to threaten anybody and thinking that I truly don't care. But if you really do think that I don't care, then I definitely don't care, kind of thing. You know what I mean? Because I'm not coming from that space. I'm not coming from
Right,
that
right, right.
space of intention that I don't have the value of respecting other, especially when they need, again, healing, which I'm so eager to want to do and offer. Um, but I have to also respect my own methodologies that I consider could work towards that healing mechanism. And sometimes it will come across of me saying, I don't care. And it's not, and it's because sometimes when it comes to time, I don't care. I don't care about time. I will respect it when it comes to, again, knowing I signed up to something, like mentoring or whatever with you, and know that 3 o'clock, I need to get better at that. And I
Right.
express that with you, that as something that I truly know I need to really work on. And that has nothing to do with me saying fuck it to the person, that I don't care about the person. No, it's that I really know it's important to them. And because it's important to them, I want to rise up to the equation,
Right.
and that's what I want to, I guess, share is my like going with the flow here and saying what I guess what I mean when I say I don't care. I care for so many deeper things that I wish people would really take their time out to talk to me about than with me being 5 minutes late. Because if I can
Right.
even give you a reason, if you don't give a shit about my reasoning of being 5 minutes late, then you don't care.
I
I
mean,
don't
yeah,
care. I broke the rule of
yeah.
being five
That,
minutes late. I get it. You know what I mean? That's
that's
kind of thing.
definitely a different factor. Like like not being reasonable and fair. But on that end, or like I like to what point?
Mm-hmm.
I was thinking that maybe like going back to not believing in time and this everything kind of flowing as it is. The Like there's a duality behind it, right? Like, on one aspect, it's accepting that, like you say, time is man-made, and viewing it or always attempting to manifest it limits your life experience. But I think maybe that's part of the feminine energy. But on the masculine side, it's accepting that although, and this is for me, although I know it's a concept, right? I know it's man-made. My reality is that it's part of it's like it's a law, right? It's like a human law. Like this is time, and I'm willing to accept that. Um, I guess in the right capacities, right? Like we don't always accept everything all the time. We do what's it called? Carte blanche, right? Is that it? Oh, I can't remember the word.
Sounds like a big word to me.
Um,
Sounds like a good word.
carte. What's the word? I know this word, man. Carte blanche. Is that it? Complete freedom to act as one wishes or thinks. Okay, yeah, okay. So I I balance it out where it matters, right? Certain things I just don't give a fuck about time wise. Like like whenever I get there, I get there. Um, but then I think for me, like I'm really this really like regardless of it is like the social contract is just like honor their time, honor my time. Um, and like you bring up the mentor. Like for me on my end, it's wanting to show you that it's serious, right? Because you coming to me tells me that like this is something important to you. So if I'm 5 minutes late and it's like, yeah, well, you know what, yeah, it's cool. Whenever we get on, don't worry about it. It's all good. Then you like this shit ain't real. Like this shit ain't like what about that? Um, and like I said, we all do that in different parts of life, and the goal is to just to kind of be real to realize it, right? Like like you said, you're grateful when someone tells you, hey, you're late all the time. Shit is a problem, right? And if you care, like you said, right, you're gonna be like, you know what? I respect this work environment. That like your example was that they weren't taking care of what they needed to, but they was coming down to you. So fuck them, right? And rightfully so. Yeah, like yeah, I definitely feel that way too. But it's also them informing you and hoping that like you said, there's a reason for it. Like I don't care because you don't care. Like that's the reality, right? If you really cared about me being late, you would give me a direct manager to get in that ass to make me do what I need to do. But since you don't care, you can't expect me to care. But like we said, we get on and we communicate and we understand each other's perspectives. And I and if you care, right? If you really care about me being late, you'll find me some stability. And if I really care about being late, I'll stop coming in late once you give me the stability. But if I'm still coming in late, it just means like I don't fuck with you. I don't fuck with you. I don't care, right? And like that's I think that's the challenge, right? And that's the point of like I said that everything is just entertainment and conversation. Everything is information and entertainment to an extent. And the wanting to keep bonds is to continuously have like I know we get on the show 2 times a week. I know we're gonna laugh. We might have some dull moments. It's gonna go through all of it. Like I expect it, but I still look forward to it. Um, but when I stop, like yeah, like I ain't got nothing. Yeah, no, yeah, okay. Yeah. It's like giving you like yeah, okay. Um, all that bullshit is like yo. He don't give a fuck. I don't give a fuck. Why are we wasting our time, right? Like going back to the physical. Why the fuck we wasting our time? Um, so yeah, I think that's the goal, right? Just talking to different people to see the fucked up shit about you, and if you care, you make it better, and if you don't, like I'm out. Like us very much like I talk to you in a bit, and I don't you don't know how I'm doing. I don't know how you doing, right? Like that's how it is. So yeah.
Yeah, it just goes back into like how do you fix the human problem?
You talk. You talk, right? That's it. Like
Yeah,
that's all there is. You
yeah,
use language to communicate,
yeah,
and yeah,
yeah,
if I don't
yeah.
fuck with you, I stop fucking with you and go on about my life happily. You you going on about your life happily, and we just know not to fuck with each other. Like that.
But that's the funny part when it comes to
That's the
like
base,
making
right?
money or creating something or working
Right.
together or having or trying to come up with like visions towards the same goal, right? It becomes so interesting because that's the part where,
Well, it depends on how you say it, right? Because look, the
yeah,
first thing you said was money,
yep,
right?
yep,
And that's just something that's physically introduced, and it's the bullshit.
yep.
But if the goal is to live out the dream, we all live trying to live out our dreams. The money's just
Mm-hmm.
the arbitrary bullshit, right?
Correct.
It's just perspective.
No, correct. Exactly.
Yeah.
And that's the funny part about like thinking about the work aspect of life, right?
Right, right,
And that every person's, like, I don't think the human species itself is void of work. I think everyone needs to do some kind of work, right? I think it's very like the masculine aspect, if I want to say, like the action part, the hike of life is like work, right?
right,
And of course, we live in a society where the money is something that adds value to our quality of life because it buys us things, it gives us the ability to buy things, right? To have ownership of things. So we put it in said time and equation and formula to receive said money that will help assist with the quality of life. That's something that's very ingrained to, I think, everyone, but it also affects everyone very differently. So, with that in mind, I find it very interesting that what do you then do to find rules and regulations to that structure of what work should be or could be based on still maintaining this communal aspect of social
right.
structure, right? And that's the challenging part, which I'm very glad I wasn't in. But I also see it as like an eager part to kind of figure out in wanting to take ownership of my own methodologies of healing and being there for other people and extend my services in that regard to kind of figure that out. And what are the rules and regulations to help solidify a common ground that would also help filter out any of the bullshit, you know what I mean,
Right, right,
that are legitimate to help maintain a sort of mission statement again to that overall um, importance of said work, of said company, of said quality of what it is that I do, or like, and that's what's so difficult. But I think what makes it so interesting is that we have choice at the end of the day. Like if I
right,
really didn't give a shit about the job, I shouldn't be there. Point blank, period.
right,
You know
right.
what I mean? I could
Take
either take
responsibility. Yeah,
responsibility and leave, right? Either get my shit right, show up on time, or leave, right? If I'm always gonna whine about it every day, or like if I'm
right.
taking, you know what I mean? Like I hope I have enough integrity to always get myself checked in that regard. Like I don't I've I keep myself. I've had jobs that I quickly was like realizing this is not for me, but I've also had a job for like 5 or 6 years at a time, so I can hold on to a job with no problem and still meet and still play along with the rules and regulations, so that's not the issue. I find it very interesting that yeah, it's very hard to I guess find the right structure when you don't know what right is. You don't know what right is
Yeah.
until you talk about it, like you said, which is the thing with this, which is the methodology in and of itself. That's how some rules in those certain companies or whatever get broken. Because I remember when you said, what if my 5 minutes late affects everyone with everyone else being 5 minutes late, right? And the way I also heard that was, well, it's really not my problem unless everyone is really truly 5 minutes late and also gets penalized for it. But the way I've come across from that is that it's still picky. I'm being like picked on for being 5 minutes late when others are not being picked on for being 5 minutes late, because then there's dynamicism of them being more friendlier with one another. But those are like logistics I can't bring up to the table when somebody criticizes me of being 5 minutes late.
But you said
You
you
know?
said you're the manager, so you should be the one penalizing them. No,
No, not at the time when I was a manager. No,
got it.
yeah. Not, this is where I was more. I was a manager before I was a server for the department I was telling you about. That was like fighting for the justice part of not having solid managers. Is because before then I was a manager for the other section of the store and
Got
like
it.
more retail aspect.
So you got fired from being a server.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, got it. I think you
Mm-hmm.
said that too. I might have forgot. Okay,
No, it's okay.
got it.
Yeah, yeah. So that's where I'm like, oh, okay. the law and order of the rules and the way
okay.
it's supposed to structurally really play out in the reality of this foundation. It's the biggest, like,
I mean,
it's two
that new
worlds.
piece of information changes the whole dynamic of our entire conversation. Because we was talking about management, we was talking about time and being fired in 5 minutes, and at one point, I don't think at one point you were like, when I was a server.
Oh no, yeah, no, I was telling you, I was a server with certain tables, and then I had other employees that are my
Okay,
coworkers.
maybe I didn't listen well. I thought for some reason I heard you had tables, and in my mind I'm thinking about the other section. I'm like, okay, I don't understand that. And coworkers, I thought you were talking about other managers, like
Okay.
other, because I thought there was like one main manager and then assistant managers.
There were.
But were you okay?
There were.
No, well, I'm okay. Yeah, it's all confusion.
It's okay. It's not even that big of a. We still got our point across, I think, really well.
Right.
But yeah.
All right. That's all I got. Anything you want to wrap up with?
No.
Okay. Yeah, you can catch us on IG at the HIGHké Life, HIGHKE, and I know I spelled that wrong last time, definitely. And you can find us on YouTube at Mottos from Mount Melanin. Damn, Mottos MOTTOS. And Mount is just MT dot. I'm gonna do that. I should have looked at the camera. I don't care. I don't. All right. Until next time. Peace. Okay. Peace. I forgot. I should have done that. I was reading. I shouldn't have read.
Anyway, before we go, I'm Shari. And you can follow me on my Instagram.
I forgot.
at _7th Goddess, or on YouTube at #7th Goddess.
Only reason I forgot because I didn't do my IG. That's why. Because I purposely decided like I don't like you said no one cares. So like fuck it.
It's okay.
I had that shit right.
That's all right.
But
we handled it
I'm
well.
all good. All right. Peace.